Hi, good afternoon. This is Adam Small with the Agent Sauce and the Real Estate Marketing Podcast. With me today is Doug of DK New Media.
I'm here.
All right. So, Doug, we were talking earlier about today's topic, and it's going to be content creation ideas.
The topic was talking about topics.
Yes, we were talking. We were trying to figure out the topic of the topic.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. So, but content creation ideas, right?
Yep.
That's what we came up with?
Absolutely.
Good. So, blog posts, content is an interesting thing in general because you've got blog posts, you've got social media posts, you've got audio, you've got video, all sorts of stuff is in fact content, right? So, you got a wide range of opportunities and stuff. So, what are some of your favorite things to write about or talk about?
Well, on the subject, I got to do a shout out to a friend of mine, Mark Schaefer. He came out with a book called Known, Known. And part of that book talks about getting known, basically using the internet to be known, not famous, but known for, so in your case, known for real estate marketing, text marketing, mobile marketing.
So kind of like becoming an authority.
Yeah,
on a topic.
Exactly, becoming an authority. And some of the advice that he gives is just what he did was eloquently put together a guide for people. So I would encourage all of your listeners to pick up a copy of that book. It's incredible. But the two biggies that he talks about is, command your place and then figure out your space. And what he means by that is, and he didn't rhyme it like that, I did, but obviously you're an authority on something, right?
Right.
And even your real estate agents. But it's not just real estate. Some of your real estate agents are really great at young families. Some of them are good at relocating elderly people. Some of them are really good at dealing with...
It could be areas of expertise.
Exactly.
It could be certain types of loans. You've got HUD loans, you've got VA loans, you've got, and they don't do the loans themselves, but they know all the hurdles to help somebody get through to get that type of loan.
And so if you look out there at the content out there, so let's say in central Indiana, or wherever you're listening from, is there an authority on that topic in that space already?
Right.
Because if you're going to do it and you're going to compete with them, you might struggle because they've already got authority, they've already got a following, everything else.
Not to say that it can't be done, though.
It can absolutely
can. It's just going to be a little bit.
But his point is that typically, you can find opportunities where nobody's talking about a certain thing. Harlan Wilson here. Harlan Wilson started a real estate company, and he is totally working on people that are caretakers for their parents.
Oh, okay.
And so he knows that those homes have to be specially outfitted, and he's got contractors to do that and everything else. And he's starting to write about it. He has an email list about it, everything else. And so he's picked out a certain space that nobody else is really competing in.
In a space which is, as baby boomers are getting older, is really becoming a very important space.
Huge one. And so that, to me, that's like the first step is saying, what am I going to be known for? Then now the next step of that he talks about and I talk about a lot is you don't want to just keep talking about that every day. If you just talked about, we don't sit here on the podcast and talk about real estate marketing day after day after day.
Right.
We've talked about all of the different pieces associated sales and mediums and
and you're
advertising.
Struggling to remember it because you just said it.
But
we talk about all the different technologies and different things and items behind marketing as much as we talk about the marketing itself.
Right. And so here's the deal. You own a real estate marketing platform. Are we talking about your real estate marketing platform every single day?
No, as a matter of fact, most of the time we avoid talking about it so that we don't seem like it's all about promoting ourselves. What we're trying to accomplish here is to provide something of value to people out there that may be customers at some point in time. And, hopefully it helps establish us as an authority on the entire concept of real estate marketing.
Right.
As opposed to just our platform.
Exactly. And so each of these podcasts, what you're doing is you're saying, you know what, I hear real estate agents struggling with what are they going to write about, talk about, do videos about, we need to do a podcast to help them.
Right.
So what you're doing is you're establishing your authority that you understand what their problems are and you're trying to solve them. Now, when real estate agents listen to, 10 podcasts, 20 podcasts, they read your blog posts, everything else, over time they go, you know what? Adam and Kim really understand my job. They get it.
Right.
They know what I'm going through every single day. I really want to work with these people. And that's the difference is they're going to come to you not because of the features in your platform or anything else. They're going to come to you because they really know that you understand their business.
Right. Because we've established the authority. We've established that we have knowledge,
right,
not just about our platform, and that we're, really looking to help people out instead of just promote our platform.
And so real estate agents that are listening to me right now.
Can do the exact same thing.
Yeah. What are the problems for sellers? It's how do they increase value of their homes? How do they get the paperwork that you were talking about?
And it could be,
what other stuff?
Getting, so much goes into selling a home. There's title search, there's insurance purposes, there's, just getting inspections and all the little things that you got to do, and that's not even talking about finding the buyer, the largest part of it is finding the buyer, the largest time is what I mean to say is finding the buyer. And that's when the real work begins. Once you've got the offer, there's this whole negotiation process, and pricing and all that stuff, which, you have to get through. So, you can sell your home by yourself without a real estate agent. It's a lot harder because you got to make sure you,
how do you
dot all the I's, cross all the T's.
100% of time to it.
Yeah. And you got to work to do showings and all that stuff and negotiations. The real estate agent, really provides a lot of value in helping to separate you from some of those things, make it easier for you, and really, your home most of the time is, has a real emotional attachment, so it's worth a lot. And a lot of people, when they do a for sale by owner, they overprice it. And then they end up underselling it.
Well,
and
in the for sale by owner, all they're interested in is maybe I can save a few bucks, on a commission, and I could do this myself. And they're thinking about it tactically,
right?
But they're not thinking about it strategically, like a real estate. I was talking to a lady. She's a client of yours.
Oh yeah,
Jan Rhodes.
Oh yeah, okay.
I was talking to her a few nights ago, and she was talking about how, she has her face up at she has a poster up at Marsh, with her face on it, and it's just kind of this greeting thing that she spends money on every single year. But the fact is that a few people come up to her every once in a while and say,
I've seen your face.
Yeah, I've seen your face. And so, well, that's the thing is she's creating a rapport. She's creating that authority. She's maintaining contact with people that are interested in buying.
Right.
So you're not, if it's a for sale by owner, you don't have a list of people sitting there waiting.
Exactly.
And so real estate agents obviously have that. They know that they need their pipeline full, and they know that they need the next person.
Right. And they're constantly working on that, whether it's, farming areas insofar as, postcard sends or newspaper ads or, whatever that technique is. They're constantly trying to build up a list of potential buyers as well as sellers, because you can't buy something, you don't have something on the market, but again, to that point though, there are entire groups that all they do is focus on buyers or sellers, and and sometimes they even get more specific than that, low income buyers,
right,
high income sellers,
exactly,
that sort of thing, and that's their specialty, and they just know how to work that. And so when we're
talking
write
content,
about it,
right? So write about it and show that you have that expertise, and don't worry about do-it-yourselfers. They're always going to do it themselves. They're always, if they can scrape a nickel, they're going to do it.
Right.
But what you're after is that person that says, wow, I never even thought about those 10 things as we're looking, to sell our home.
Right.
We need to call this person because she obviously knows exactly, she's worked with our buyers before. She's worked with these types of situations before.
Right. So, you said write about it. So blog post, right? So, blog post is a great opportunity to put something out there and have it be perpetually out there working for you. you write it once, you post it to your website, and if it's well written, if it's good content, Google's gonna I say Google, I should say any search engine is gonna index that and hopefully direct people to that, right?
Well, you got to make sure that it's remarkable content. I would even tell people that if you're spending a ton of time to write one blog post, let's say a week, and you're just not seeing traction after a few months, it's probably that it's not really that compelling. And so, or you're doing the old, I think we've talked about it on other podcasts, the guy that in my Facebook feed that I finally blocked, that he's like, oh, writing up 2 more. Oh, sold another one. Oh.
Right.
Where he's not doing anything.
There's no substance to it. There's no real value in what you.
He's not connecting with me personally.
Right.
He's not telling me why I should be hiring him as a real estate agent.
Right.
And so when the time comes that I am going to sell, he's not going to be the guy that I'm thinking about. These other people are. And so I would say that if you pick this space that you want to kind of own, so you talked about, let's say high income homes, high income homes might have other things associated with them, like executives relocation,
Right.
Well, then you might want to write a lot about executive relocation and, tax, breaks or whatever, anything associated with attracting that audience. And the thing is you want to write the best content.
Right.
So here's another tip for everybody, that a lot of times we don't write the best content.
Right.
But we can find the best content.
Right.
And so if you look up a topic and you go read a Forbes article and the Inc. magazine article and whatever article, and you compile all of that information into one really great complete article, watch what happens. People will notice. People will start taking it, having it take off. So remember, I just wrote about this last week on our site, but I said content is king. But there's only one crown out there.
Right. So it's got to be good content. It's got to be
great.
exceptional content, right?
Yeah, it's got to be exceptional to get found nowadays.
Right. So, along the lines of what you're saying, target your content. Target the what you're writing toward the audience that you want. So if you're looking to work with people that are selling those $1 million homes or buying $1 million homes, target your content to the challenges that those people have, tax purposes, school purposes,
sometimes it's even, we have smart home technology now, right?
Right.
If you want to go really high end smart technology, you got to go high income.
Right.
So people might be interested in that. It might be, Tesla's latest, car, anything associated with that family and their lifestyle and everything else, to let them know that you understand who they are.
Okay.
You're the right connection for them.
Now, we've been talking about blog posts, right? There are other mediums out there too, right? Podcasting is one of them, so talking about that as well. So podcasting, you can do the same thing with podcasting. What about video too, right?
Here's what I'll say. Number one with podcasting, is real estate agents spend a ton of time in their car, right?
Yeah.
So there's amazing opportunities to just record yourself
while you're driving down the road.
Absolutely. Have a conversation. I mean, if you just hit record, you're not having to look down at your, piece or anything.
Right.
But you could really just sit there and talk for, I think a lot of real estate agents use dictation and everything else.
Right.
And so I think there's times where real estate agents could kind of cut corners, where they don't have to sit in front of a laptop and wonder about what they're going to type next. They could go record it, either do a podcast or send it to something like, was it SpeechPad, or I think is
something along those lines, right?
There's
transcription
services online and stuff.
Right.
And now you got your blog post,
So you can take you can repurpose your podcast into a blog post as well.
Yeah.
Right?
And then some of the stuff that we're doing with some of our clients now is, and Adam's sitting here because we have a bunch of the equipment in front, is we're going to start videotaping our podcasts.
Right.
And so now we're going to have podcasts. Now we can write about the podcasts, and now we can videotape the podcast.
So you really get by reutilizing the content in different mediums, you really get a much bigger impact and a lot less work for that matter, because you get to use the same thing multiple times.
I think I think people really make a mistake that every time they look at a piece of content, they go, I got to think of something new and fresh.
It's got to be unique.
And it doesn't. It just has to be popular.
Right.
And so if you do a podcast and a video and a article on something that's really good, you're hitting 3 different audiences that never heard it or saw it or read it before, you know?
Right.
And then if it really takes on and people really love it, then you can combine the 20 blog posts into a little ebook or, you know, whatever.
So again, repurpose the content and give it a new life in another medium.
We talk about a lot with our clients about everything should be intentful. It shouldn't be, I got to write a blog post today, or I got to do a podcast today, or I got to do a video today. It should be, what am I going to do today that I can repurpose over and over and over again? What can I do today that's going to save me time and money down the road, because we're all so busy.
Right. Good point. You know, I mean, makes a lot of sense to be able to get a lot more value out of what you're putting out there instead of just a one-time bang. You get, you know, multiple hits on it and multiple mediums, which means that you're reaching different people and different audiences, because some people prefer to read, others want to watch a video, and some would prefer just to listen.
Absolutely.
You know, so you're maximizing the opportunity for reach there.
The other one too is if you did an incredible, maybe you wrote a great blog post on some crime that happened in a neighborhood or whatever. Well, the next year you could repurpose that same article and say, hey, here's an update on, you know, what's happened with this district or whatever.
Right.
And so the other one too is we go back to our old posts over and over again and basically refresh them with new statistics and new pictures, and we publish them as new, and they're just as popular again a year later.
Right.
Nobody ever writes and says, oh,
saw that
I read that
year.
a year ago.
Yeah, exactly. So, and you know, another thing that we can do there too is take that content, and depending on the nature of the content, you know, like you were talking about, crime statistics is probably a decent one, you know, and a lot, one that's really favorite with real estate agents is a market watch, a market statistics, right? So, you know, if you have a podcast or you have content that you've created, you could actually, depending on the nature of that content, you could create an infographic out of it as well.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you've got yet another opportunity for reach. You know, you create a nice looking infographic, publish it out there. Hopefully it gets picked up by others and put out there. And, you know, so again, you're reaching another audience and you've got another piece to share. And if it's a good piece, if it's good infographic, other agents will share it too.
Absolutely.
You know, so then it ends up, you know, if you do it right, you get links back to your site and everything.
Yeah.
And, you know, that all helps out from a
Ranking.
authority and ranking perspective. Yep. So another great opportunity there.
Hey, the last one that I wanted to talk about was seasonal content.
Seasonal, okay.
So you guys do it, right?
Yep.
You guys send out
emails based
around
on season.
holidays and everything else.
Right, or spring cleaning, or, you know, winterizing, depending on the season, right?
Yeah, and so if your audience ever looks at Google Trends, that's a great resource. If they say, boy, I'm thinking about writing about, you know, I'm going to make something up, drones. Right. You know, I'm going to write about drones. Is it popular right now to write about drones? You can go to Google Trends and you can actually see, you can break it down to your region of the country and see whether more and more people are searching for that type of content.
Right. So for those that don't know, how do you get to Google Trends?
So google.com/trends.
There you go.
Yep.
Pretty easy,
and
right?
so you can search Google Trends too. But the nice thing about Google Trends is, let's say you were going to write about, we have a client that's in the pest control industry. And so one of the things that we're keeping an eye on is, if we write about ant problems right now, it doesn't mean anything.
When it's cold outside.
It's not going to help anybody.
Right.
But if we write about ant problems 3 or 4 weeks before the season, when ants go crazy and start, you know, breaking into everybody's homes and everything,
right, then
the content is going to be fresh and it's going to have up-to-date stats and everything else. And so utilizing Google Trends to kind of plan out your year, and, I need to write about this, then, you know, snow removal, right? Snow removal is a great one. You
don't write about that in July, though.
Yeah, but you could have it sitting and ready.
Right.
And then when you know, hear Paul Petit, the weatherman, say, hey, we got a snowstorm coming, boom, you publish it and say, hey, here's some great resources on snow removal, home remedies for not slipping on ice, all of that stuff. And so there's a lot of great things that you can do to preempt the demand for content and
so put a content calendar together, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And pre-populate the content. Make sure you've got it written ahead of time, scheduled, ready to go out. And by creating the calendar like that, what you've got to be working on, so you can work on it now, and you can have all those individual pieces ready. You can have the blog post, the podcast, the video, the infographic, and whatever else you're working on. You can have it all ready to go at once. When it's time.
And you get to take a look at your year and say, have I really completely talked about everything that I want to talk about?
Right.
And if the answer is no, well, where am I going to fit that in? Or if the answer is, wow, I'm starting to duplicate there or whatever, well, then you want to say, okay, well, what else could I write about?
Exactly. So good info. Appreciate the time. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us at info@agentsauce.com or visit us at agentsauce.com. Thanks and have a great day.